Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Post Up Podcast. This is Cyrus.
And this is Kaunda, Chama. Welcome. Cyrus, I noticed you don't say Rogers anymore. What's happening?
Well, at this point, we're really close friends. So, I think everybody should know which Cyrus we're talking about. And that's me. We've got a lot to get through in the Post Up Podcast today. And one of the things we really want to talk about is a question that sort of came up this weekend. We thank you for, listening to the Post Up Podcast, to all of our fans. And also those who are watching the Post Up shows live on YouTube when we do them. In fact, everywhere there's an NBA connection on the African continent, you're probably going to run into us. I'm pretty sure that we don't have to apologize for the fact that they'll see us. We're trying. We're looking good these days.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Hitting the gym a little bit, hitting the court sometimes.
Exactly. So the thing that came up this week was about whether or not certain players are unguardable in the NBA. Mm-hmm. You look at the Raptors versus Golden State Warriors game, and Kevin Durant really, he took this shot that was incredible. He hit a three-pointer in Kawhi Leonard's face, basically,
and
with the seconds counting down.
And Kawhi Leonard was doing his best to defend him. Kawhi is one of the best two-way players in the business.
Yeah.
So defensively, he's pretty solid. And you could see he wanted to lock down, Kevin Durant. And I was like, I can see some Kobe Bryant type stuff happening here. But in true Durant fashion, pull-up jumper in Kawhi's face.
It was unbelievable because what more could Kawhi Leonard do?
Nothing. I mean, first of all, you're working with a man who's listed at 6'11".
Yep.
Who's potentially 7 foot tall and can pull up from anywhere on that floor.
Absolutely anywhere. It's scary, and this is why you ask about unguardable because, and we love this. Thank you, Kokesa, for getting involved and really bringing this discussion to light because what stops somebody doing what Durant does in the NBA Finals? Isn't that why he's Finals MVP?
No, absolutely.
2 years in a row?
2 years, I was about to say back-to-back Finals MVP. Well, who would you say, looking at what Kevin Durant can do, who would you say are 4 other players, in no particular order, that come out sort of unguardable?
Okay, I'm going to give you that list, but I want to just say this before we go into it. I think Kevin Durant, when he's on form, is truly unguardable. Mm-hmm. His size, not just the bulk, because he doesn't really have much heft, but the length of the man.
Yeah.
He's able to shoot over just about everybody in NBA. Then the fact that he's a dead-eye marksman, he can pull up from step range.
He's his Twitter handle, right?
Yeah.
Easy money sniper.
He's a sniper.
I love that.
I love running and gunning. So I think that's what makes him almost unguardable because you can't put another big on him. He's pretty quick. He's got great handles. So I think this is what makes him unguardable. I'm using the quotation, the air quotes here. But I think that's basically it. Now, on my list of unguardable players, I'll go through them and then I'll give you the reasons why I say this once I've done that. It's got to be Giannis Antetokounmpo is the first guy who I believe is unguardable. And just look at what Shaq says. Right? Shaq has anointed him the new Superman. He says, hey, I'm going to give him the cape. He's now going to be the cape. He's the new Superman.
He gets the S.
You've got to come up with new material, that guy. But what I love about what Shaq is saying, this guy, the Nigerian Greek forward, and I'm not even going to deal with the freakish nature of him.
I like where you went with that.
He's got the same things that Durant has, bar the dead-eye marksmanship. He doesn't have a jump shot like Durant. But when he's in the paint, how do you stop him? From the Euro step all the way through to he bullies people. And who do you put on him? Because other bigs are struggling. You can't put a smaller guy on him because he just dunk all over him. Just ask Tim Hardaway Jr. what happens when you're trying to stop Giannis. I mean, we're not going to talk about the Mario Hezonja incident, where Mario Hezonja stepped all over Giannis when he was prone on the ground, unaware of what was happening. But Giannis has done that to other people, not necessarily stepped over them, but really just made them look like they didn't even know how to play basketball. He is such a dominant player in the paint. And I think that's what makes him unguardable, because how do you stop him when he's close to the rim? He could almost dunk right over you.
Sometimes I think he's got those Michael Jordan Space Jam arms.
He does.
They
It's almost
seem to
telescopic.
they just extend, and I'm like, I'm sure that's not the natural length of his arms sometimes.
His wingspan
all over
is enough to wrap around
Infinite
people.
wingspan.
That's it. Engage. He could be an Avenger.
Oh, wow.
So Giannis is my first unguardable player. And the other one for me has to be another African, and that's the Cameroonian Joel Embiid.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the fast break that we recorded fairly recently, I talked about my love for Joel Embiid. He is one of my favorite players in the NBA. Not just because of his personality, not just because he's from Africa, but because of the way he plays the game. He is fearless. He really wants to do his utmost best. He wants to win every game. This is somebody who's just come to the league fairly, recently. And I mean, what's this? His third season, fourth season?
30.
Right, but he's playing as if he's been in the league for almost 8-9 seasons, and I think it's the way he's managed to almost get the cheat codes. Right, like he's another paint dominant player, so you want him with a back to basket, but man, he can also hit threes in your face. And how do you guard against somebody like that? He's made people look really, really silly. He's got a great spin move. He manages to back you down, fakes you, gets into the hoop, and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna give you this one.
Then he'll even call you out on Instagram and Twitter.
He'll call you out on the court. Then on Instagram, the trolling never stops.
No.
So he's another unguardable for me. Two more on my list. And size clearly matters to me, but not necessarily in the way you might be thinking. I'm talking about it in terms of just how big they are as personalities on the court. LeBron James is the next unguardable player. When LeBron James is in his groove, there is absolutely nothing you can do to stop him. And what LeBron does is a little different from the other guys. Fine, Giannis does something similar, but what LeBron does is that he dominates every aspect of the game. He'll outscore you. He'll out-rebound you. He'll out-assist you. He'll even steal the ball. He'll block shots. He'll do absolutely everything bar referee the game. Right? That makes him unguardable.
Well, yeah, I've seen him guarded efficiently by our first,
Kevin Durant has done a good job on him, but he never stopped him.
He came close.
You see, this is the thing about LeBron, because people talk about unguardable, right? Unguardable for me means being able to stop the guy doing something that he does regularly. If you stop LeBron scoring 40 points, but he scores 30, you haven't stopped LeBron. LeBron was just slowed down a little bit. So his momentum keeps on going, and I think that's what I love about King James. I'm not his biggest fan, but man, he is unstoppable. He's like a freight train when he's going. And I mean, when he picks up a head of steam and he's running at the basket, get out the way. Get out the way.
Find something better to do.
That's it. Read a book. Pretend like you didn't see him coming. And I think that's what LeBron James does. My final unguardable player. One of my favorites, all-time NBA favorites, love watching this man, and it's Steph Curry. The man changed the game.
Oh, wow.
He changed the game, Kaunda. Referees were like, oh wow, I guess he can shoot from there. Coaches are like, why aren't you guarding him? He just stepped into our court, right? Steph Curry is one of those who's got the handles. He doesn't have the size, and that's what's really, like I say, it's important. But when you've got the skill set that he does, well, how do you stop it? You've got to have excellent perimeter defense. Some teams have that, and yes, he gets around some of those covers. He'll shoot over people, but he doesn't just have to use the three-pointer, which he is expert at, right? You look at how he does things. He can go to the rack, blow right past you, dribble you, put people on their skates. Chris Paul's seen him do it, right? In fact, Chris Paul has seen his own jersey number sometimes, right? You see it, Marcin Gortat, Rudy Gobert. These men are going to be sick of the sight of Steph Curry. He's unguardable.
I do not disagree with all your choices because some of them appear on my list, Cyrus.
Okay.
First of all, we started with Kevin Durant. We both agree that of the unguardables, he might be slightly ahead of the pack, right?
Yeah.
So I'll give you a description of mine and a few,
Go for it, buddy. Go for it.
Anthony Davis from the New Orleans Pelicans. I think, as far as big men are concerned, this is one of the most unguardable guys. He just does everything. He's got a three, he's got a mid-range. In the paint, he's got his spin move. He would dunk on you while looking you in the eye. He's got a great pump fake. I mean, he even said it himself. he's one of the best players in the league at the moment.
I love Anthony Davis.
But his confidence, bar Kevin Durant and LeBron James, he said he was right up there with the best of them. Next, you've already spoken about him, the Greek freak, the Nigerian Targaryen, Giannis Antetokounmpo. I don't even need to go into details.
Don't, because Giannis does it all, right?
He does it all. Then at number 4, I got Stephen Curry. You also mentioned Stephen Curry.
Yeah.
I mean, few players in the history of the game can say, I played so well that I made teams' entire game plans change.
Yeah.
The way the game is played. People are now shooting more threes.
Because of me.
Because of me. I changed the system. I started shooting threes from everywhere, and everybody was like, okay, in order to win this game, people need to start stepping up their three-point game. And Steph Curry did just that. But one guy that I think we might have left out, but I had to include here, was a man who's got his own movie, Uncle Drew.
Oh, yeah?
Kyrie Irving.
Oh, yeah?
He is fantastic. You've seen his
Kyrie is crazy.
Even Steph Curry will agree that Kyrie Irving has better handles than him.
I don't know if he'd agree. I think what he'd say is, it's possible.
It's possible.
But
he might say it's possible.
And Kyrie's cold-blooded. He is cold-blooded.
His handles are great. He takes this ball to the hoop like nobody's there.
Yeah.
If you're there, you might as well just be a tree. He's gonna go around.
It's stationary.
Or he's gonna break your ankles. You're gonna be on the floor, and he's gonna finish. I love the way he finishes at the hoop because he might be Energizer Bunny in the paint, but he finishes with such precision.
The grace, man.
With such grace. It's as if he goes into slow motion as he releases that ball.
That's actually what it is. It's basketball ballet. Yeah.
We might have to
patent that. Trademark.
Right?
Here we go.
Basketball ballet. So Cyrus, those are my 5, and I think we agree on most of them.
Yeah.
And hey, if you're listening, let us know who you think are your most unguardable players, whether it's one of them, 2 of them,
or none of them. We want to know what you think.
Yeah.
Because I think these guys, it's almost above debate at this point, because a lot of these guys are unguardable. I love your picks, and I actually had a huge head-scratching moment around leaving Anthony Davis out of my list, but I felt that Joel Embiid was just a little bit more dominant in the paint than AD is, but I also just love Joel Embiid.
Who doesn't love Joel Embiid? So maybe Hassan Whiteside. Everybody else does.
That's true. So we're moving on to our next topic, and this is something that I think it's a tough one for me, because I tend to feel like it's always too early in the season to ask, even when there's like 3 or 4 games left, whether in the regular season, whether or not it's true. But the question is, are the Toronto Raptors a lock for the NBA Finals?
Cyrus, I'm gonna put it out there. I'm gonna put it out there.
He's putting it all on the line.
I'm putting it all on the line.
On the line.
I am locking them in.
You're locking them in for the NBA Finals.
For the NBA
so we're not
Finals.
talking about the conference finals here, right? We're not even saying to win the Eastern Conference at the end of the regular season.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. No. They're winning the Eastern Conference to go to the NBA Finals.
So, okay, in terms of winning the Eastern Conference Finals, I get you.
To go to the NBA Finals.
I guess we're not talking about just topping.
Not just topping. No, taking the Eastern Conference to go to the NBA Finals.
Okay.
Cyrus,
a lock.
First of all, let's look. The Toronto Raptors of last season are only missing 2 elements compared to the Toronto Raptors of this season.
Yeah.
They're missing 1, DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah.
Their star shooting guard, right? Number 2, they're missing Coach Dwayne Casey.
Yeah.
But as we've seen, Coach Nick Nurse learned a lot from Coach Dwayne Casey.
Yeah.
And the way the plays are being run, you can see nothing really has changed. And when I say changed, it means gotten bad.
Okay, so you're saying there hasn't been a regression.
There hasn't been a regression, and they've maintained that momentum. They are the Raptors that you saw last season.
Yeah.
They are doing well. They're now on an 8-game winning streak.
Yeah.
And we'll go back to DeMar DeRozan. They lost DeMar DeRozan, but what? They gained one of the best 2-way players in the league, in Kawhi Leonard.
Kawhi Leonard,
and also made him laugh. I had never seen this young man laugh in his entire years at the San Antonio Spurs. He laughed.
That is true.
There's something in Toronto. I don't know if it's in the food or the water.
but there's something.
But there's something. And he has been playing well. As part of the starting 5, Kawhi Leonard has been fantastic. Now, Kyle Lowry, who was very close to is very close to DeMar DeRozan, because he said the brotherhood
still
remains.
Doing these weird, ghostly pre-game rituals.
But he's still performing.
Yeah.
Even now that he's basically matching up with Kawhi Leonard, he's still performing the way he was performing with DeMar DeRozan. one of our favorite African players, Pascal Siakam, has come into his very own.
He really has.
I mean, I spoke to him when he was in Africa for the Africa game, and I said, Pascal, at the rate you're going, and Pascal can quote me on this, this coming season, you're probably going to perform better than Serge Ibaka. And he smiled at me and he goes, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, I mean, I'm a fan watching you. So I'm seeing what you're doing. And you're going to become better than Serge Ibaka. And, well, he is younger than Serge. So, age is always a factor when you're a sportsman.
You see, so it must be you who's inspired this young man.
Hey.
You might also have inspired Serge, because imagine Pascal saying, back in South Africa, they're telling me that I'm better than you. And now Serge be like, oh, nonsense, young guy. Because I like what you're saying about Pascal, but look at the points per game averages, and guess what? Serge is averaging 16.5 points per game, Pascal 14.8.
He's coming up.
And this is the thing, is that Pascal is doing really well. He's actually fighting for that position, and he's really made the whole NBA sit up and take notice that he's got the ability to do a good job for the Raptors.
And you know what I like about Pascal's? In addition to that, Cyrus, is that you see him on the offensive side, right? On the offensive end, he's really giving it all. But also on the defensive end, he's also giving it all. So he wants to be an all-rounder. He wants to be a well-rounded player. And I think if he continues at this trajectory, he's going to be one of the best African players. Oh, let me not even say African players, one of the best players in the league.
I have to agree with you. When you look at the kind of things that he's doing and how Nick Nurse is utilizing him, it's really, you see the potential coming out of this man. And it also comes from the fact that he's putting in the hard work. He's not afraid about saying, I want to be as good as I can be. And look at the numbers, they speak for themselves, not just in the points per game numbers, which have really shot up from before, but he's also, for the Raptors, in the top 5 of rebounders per game. He's averaging 6.4 rebounds a game. I mean, Kawhi Leonard is still leading the way with 8.6. But then you look at the fact that he's also involved in the assists, per game, where he's in the top 5. It's only 2.4 assists, and I say only, but you still got to be out there to dish the assists. But he's doing that too. Steals per game, guess what? Siakam is there, in the top 5 for the Raptors. And then in blocks per game,
still in the top 5.
So he's doing a lot of stuff for the team, and I think that's the most important and most I think critical thing for the Raptors. Siakam's doing it. I know you love him for Most Improved Player of the Year.
Yes, I think, like I keep using this phrase, if he continues performing at this level to the end of the season, a regular season, I think it's probably one of the front runners for Most Improved Player.
I have to admit that I think in terms of larger scale of things, top 10 players or who could be the most improved, he's up there. Yeah, there's a few guys like Montrezl Harrell who are definitely showing that they're playing well. My favorite guy for most improved is probably Sacramento Kings guard De'Aaron Fox, who I absolutely love, and I love the improvement that he's made. Even Buddy Hield at the Kings has done really well. But I think Siakam is in that conversation. Nick Nurse has done a fantastic job with this team, and having to take over from Dwayne Casey, the scenario behind how he took over is also something that has to be kept in mind, because it wasn't a friendly departure. I think.
Yeah, well, they had to do what they had.
It was a bit of a bitter pill for Dwayne Casey to swallow, considering that he then went on to win Coach of the Year for all of the things he'd done. But it was a big call by Masai Ujiri, and he spoke about this with us not too long ago, and he's been very vocal about how he felt the need to try and move the team forward. Yep. However, having said all of this stuff, Kaunda, we go back to the first question, which is, are the Raptors a lock for the NBA Finals? You say yes, I say it's way too early to say that.
Why would you say that?
Because there are a couple of things that we have to take into consideration. Form changes. Right now, the Raptors are playing some of the best basketball they've played in years. And fitness will be an issue.
For the second season in a row.
Without a question. But we're also looking at how certain teams are underperforming. And when I say certain teams, I'm talking about the Boston Celtics here.
Yep.
Because the Celtics really are the elephant in the room in the Eastern Conference. We don't quite understand why they're
sitting at the 6th spot. They might not be in the room anymore.
No, but this is the thing for me, right? So when you look at them, they're 6.5 games behind the Raptors. That is a lot of games to be back from any team that you're trying to chase. But as the Cavaliers showed last season, you can finish fourth in the Eastern Conference and still manage to battle your way to the NBA Finals. And so I don't know if the Raptors are a lock. I think they've got the potential, they've got the firepower. You look at somebody like Kawhi Leonard, and no disrespect to DeMar DeRozan because I really like him as a player, but Kawhi Leonard has won a championship or two, you know?
Yep.
And this is a guy who's a Finals MVP. He knows what it takes to win the whole darn thing. It's not just about being in the NBA Finals. He knows what it takes to win. And I'm not even going to go into, you know, some of the fighting words that have come up between him and his former coach Greg Popovich about whether or not he's a leader. I think the thing is that you see that he leads by example. He doesn't have to be vocal.
Yeah, he's a quiet leader.
Just look at the Toronto Raptors right now. Kawhi averaging 25.5 points per game, the highest points in that team. Rebounds per game. Guess who? Kawhi Leonard, 8.6 rebounds a game. You know, the only stats that he's not necessarily performing the highest, you know, like assists, he's still third on the list for the Raptors. I mean, it's going to be tough to catch up with a Kyle Lowry who's assisting 10.3 assists per game. That guy is doing something insane. But then Kawhi leads in steals, 1.7 steals a game. You know,
it's those big hands.
Oh man, the claw is real.
They're everywhere.
People. The claw is real. So when you look at it, the Raptors are a great team. I just don't know if they're a lock. A lock says a lot to me. It says the rest of the teams can't catch up to them.
Cyrus, we're assuming the rest of the teams are going to get much better than they are right now.
Well, there's definitely potential for them to. I mean, look at let's take for instance the Milwaukee Bucks. Right? The Bucks are actually 4 games back from the Raptors right now. They're in second place in the Eastern Conference as we speak. The Bucks can get better than they are now.
But will they? You see, we're working on suppositions here, Cyrus.
Of course we are. Isn't this whole show about supposition? Right? But this is the thing, is that I don't think that we can say with definitively. Oh, I guess this is what we're trying to say.
Yes.
You say it's a definite.
I'm saying definitively the Toronto Raptors will see the finals for the first time in many years.
And I'm saying I don't know if I can say that definitively. Because I believe in a couple of these other teams being able to shock the Raptors. I think if anything, the Raptors will get to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in their history. I think that is where I'll tend to agree with you. But what happens in those Eastern Conference Finals
is a different story.
And who they meet could be the deciding factor. So that's the difference for me. I think that the Raptors, I can't call them a lock yet. I can't. It's just not. It's not in me, Kaunda. It's not in me to say that they're a lock.
Well, let's leave it here, Cyrus, and we'll pick it up, say, April, May.
Oh yeah, of course. You'll have them receipts. You know, you like to keep them for tax purposes.
I keep receipts.
So we're coming to the end of the show, and I think the thing we've got to talk about now is our African Performers of the Week. And it seems to be this general rogues gallery. It's the same guys.
Well, look.
The usual suspects.
If it ain't broke, they ain't fixing it. No. So they're doing well and they're keeping. And Cyrus, it's something I think you and I mentioned a couple of seasons ago where, you know, we started saying African players are no longer like just role players that are bench warmers and I sit there just, you know, filling up the roster.
I'll get my minutes when I get them.
You know what I mean? Gone are those days. And not that we haven't had frontliners with the likes of Dikembe Mutombo, Hakeem Olajuwon, and you know, Manute Bol. But, you know, there was a time when the African players sat on the bench a lot and they were part of second units and that. But now, African players have come to the fore. That's why you find the likes of Joel Embiid being one of our top African players this week, averaging a double-double, being so dominant as he is. I mean, besides the Jimmy Butler, isn't he basically the leader of the Sixers?
He is, without a doubt. I think that anybody who goes to the Philadelphia 76ers is not seeking out the likes of Ben Simmons first up. They want to know if the process is happy. He's like the godfather of that team.
Absolutely.
Hey, Joel, I'm here, and I want to be the guy who plays with you. And he'd be like, yes, come in, my son. This is my team. Let's do this.
Absolutely.
But he's willing to share the power base with anybody else who's willing to win. And that's what we love about him.
Absolutely.
I guess the other guys we've got to talk about, we've gone in depth with Pascal Siakam. He's just been phenomenal.
And personable. I think another good week. He wants to be there. He wants the name Pascal Siakam to be known. He wants Pascal Siakam jerseys to be flying off the shelves.
Isn't his nickname like Spicy P?
Spicy P.
Yeah, that's what the Toronto Raptors fans have been
I think that
calling
one passed me by quick. But wow, I kind of like it though. It can grow on me.
You know, that's just how this
Spicy
guy is.
P.
Spicy, you know, just representing for everybody on this list, you know? And I guess the other guy in our African Performance of the Week, Giannis Antetokounmpo. You know, the Bucks really are nowhere without him.
No, he is the young leader.
Yeah.
Made a leader just after All-Star by Jason Kidd a couple of seasons ago, where, you know, you just give this young man, 22 years old, a torch and say, carry this, carry the team.
Carry this.
And he was like, oh, okay, let me see what I can do, coach. And then he did it all. I mean, Cyrus, I can't wait for his sneaker, first of all. Giannis, you know, hit up Post Up Podcast. You did say 2019, right?
You did.
No. Did you say 2018 or 2019? No, you said
think it was
2018-2019 season.
Oh yeah, so it's coming at some point.
So it's coming at some point this season. So you know, I can't wait for the Freak One sneaker.
You've been really keen to get your hands on them sneakers.
I'm a sneakerhead.
Well,
Watch this space.
watch this space. So thank you so much for listening to the Post Up Podcast. We will be back with more entertaining basketball commentary from the African continent. From me, Cyrus Rogers.
And me, Kaunda, we will see you in a week's time.
Indeed.